Hi, this is Dina for Splitcoaststampers. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make a card that is shaped like a takeout coffee cup, and when you open it up, a hidden gift card slides up. I'll show you how to make a top fold card too. For this sliding card, I'm going to start by cutting a card base that is 4 inches wide by 10 inches long, and you want to be sure to use really heavy cardstock for this. Here I'm using a 110-pound Dina Classic Crust cover stock. That piece is going to be scored at 1 1/4 inches and at 6 inches. And then you'll fold the base up like a matchbook away from the scored side. And the 1 1/4 inch flap will be the top of the card. And you can use a bone folder or another tool to crease the score lines down. So I have the card closed and I've turned it upside down, so I have the bottom fold along the ruler here. And I made a pencil mark at 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches. I'm going to line those points up on either side with the top corners and cut along the line to connect the dots and create the angled sides of my cup. This is really heavy cardstock, and my trimmer can't handle 3 layers of it, so I just use my trimmer to get the line marked and started, and then I'll cut through the rest of the layers with my scissors. I'm going to do the same on the other side, just lining up the pencil mark with the top corner and cutting in between those 2 points to create the angle for the other side of the cup. You could use a ruler and a craft knife to do this step too. So this is what your card base should look like after making those cuts. The next step is to cut another piece of heavy cardstock for the gift card insert, the one that slides up and down. And this piece is going to be 2 1/4 inches wide by 5 inches long. I'm going to score that piece at 1/2 inch and at 4 inches, and then fold both tabs away from the score lines. And once again, make sure you get those fold lines creased down really tightly by using a bone folder or another tool like this acrylic stylus that I'm using. I'm going to put some strong adhesive tape on the back of that 1/2 inch tab of the insert, and I want to make sure that the whole tab is covered with adhesive. I'm just removing the liner from that first line of tape so that I make sure that my second line doesn't overlap the edge. And then the edge of that tab is going to line up right in the middle of the top tab of my card base on the inside with the edges matching. Make sure that your adhesive is good and strong because this part of the card gets a lot of wear from opening and closing. And you wouldn't want the tab to tear or bend after you've given it away. You're going to need double-sided adhesive along the angled sides of the card too, and I'm just going to put those on this lower flap. You could do it on the inside flap if you wanted to. It's all the same. The thing to remember when you put your adhesive on is to make sure that it's close to the edge so that it doesn't interfere with the insert of the card going up and down. Fold that bottom flap up, tuck in your gift card, and fold up the card. And that is the structure of the card base. Now you can test your card to make sure that your gift card goes up and down. It may be a little stiff and snug at first. And this is the step where you'll know if your cardstock is heavy enough and your adhesive is strong enough. I cut a piece of heavy cardstock for the front of my card, and this is 4 inches wide by 4 3/4. And I'm going to make pencil marks just like I did for the card base at 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches. Again, I'm going to use those marks to cut the sides down at an angle just like I did on the card base. I'm going to cover the top flap of the card base completely with score tape and position the front on there. And that is going to give me some really good leverage for lifting up the gift card that's inside. The next step is to cut a couple of strips of paper for the lid of the cup. The first one is going to be 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, and the second one is 1 1/4 inches wide by 4 inches long. On the larger piece, you're going to mark at 1/4 inch from both quarters, just marking with a pencil. So that's at 1/4 and 3 3/4, and then you'll cut at an angle from the opposite corner up to the pencil mark. I just did these cuts with my scissors since they were so small. And then those two pieces go together to make the lid of the cup. Just put some adhesive along the lower edge of the wider piece, and the long piece will line up right along that bottom edge. Next, we're going to make a kind of sleeve for the cup. I made mine with craft paper, and I cut it to 2 inches wide, and it's about 4 inches long. Yours doesn't have to be exactly that size, but it does need to be 4 inches or longer so that you can trim the ends down to meet the angles of the card. I added some texture to my piece with a chevron embossing folder, and then I did some light sponging on the edges and layered it with some patterned paper. You could use patterned paper instead of craft paper. You could use corrugated cardboard for this, or whatever you want. Maybe even an actual cup sleeve would work. See what you have around your house and use what works for you. The next step is to put all the pieces together, and I'll begin by putting the lid on the card. You'll notice that I have my card laid on a quilter's grid, and that's so I can make sure that the height of the card doesn't go over 5 1/2 inches, because I want this card to fit into an A2 envelope. If you don't have a grid like this, you can just lay your card onto your envelope to be sure that it will fit inside. The last thing to do is to adhere the sleeve, and you'll just center it on the card wherever it looks right to you. Mine is about 1/8 of an inch below the edge of the lid. If you want to put yours further down, that's fine too. And once you've got that strip on there, flip the card over and use your scissors to trim the edges of the strip so that they match the angles of the sides of the card. That's basically it. That sliding insert would work with other shaped cards too, if you didn't want a coffee shape. I have a mitten and a stocking die that I want to try as well, and even a rectangular card would work. I wanted to share the measurements for making a regular top fold card with this shape in case you just wanted a card without the gift card insert inside. The base is 4 inches by 9 1/2 inches. And you'll make a single score line in the center at 4 3/4 inches. Then you'll mark at 1/2 inch from each edge. And make the angled cuts for the sides. And beyond that, the assembly is pretty much the same, with the lid and the sleeve pieces made the same way. So just another fun way to use this shape for a card with a message inside. You could shrink down the measurements and make a shaped tag as well. There's just lots of possibilities with this. I hope you'll try it out with your own unique twist, and I thank you so much for watching.